So first and foremost, let me thank you all for coming on tonight. What I will do as we move on, and I'm assuming more people will kind of pop in, is there will be times I may mute your audio based on maybe your background noise or just to keep it so that it's easy for everyone to hear. If you want to talk, it's completely okay. Just somehow let me know, whether it's through chat or if you have your video up, like, flag me by waving at me or something if I have you muted. If not, feel free to jump in. So I'll start by introducing myself for those of you who may not know me or fully understand why do I think I can talk about this topic. So my name is Kenesha Berry. I'm a relationship life coach. I help people get clear about who they are so they can create the life they want. What I've learned is that many times emotionally we are unaware of who we are. We do a lot of things in life where we talk about what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses. So we have, as a society, we teach a lot about self-esteem and what are you good at? But we don't teach awareness. And awareness is typically the thing that's driving us that we don't know about, and that's our emotional baggage. Sometimes it's baggage. It's our thoughts, the way we think and the way we perceive the world. And then the thoughts create the behavior. And many times we're not sure why we do what we do. And I've learned that a lot of times what people are doing is they're saying, well, that's just my personality and that's just how I am. But I want to encourage you that if your life is not producing more joy, peace, and love, than it is chaos, frustration, hurt, and pain, then that is not who you are. You have just gotten perhaps lost to the way you're thinking, the way you're processing, and you're lost in your emotions. So as a coach, my goal is to help you get clear about those things so that you can move forward and begin to produce a life that you want. How did I become a life coach? So I've been married for July will be 21 years. That sounds crazy coming out of my mouth. But July will be 21 years. My husband and I will be married. 25 years of us being together. 12 years into our marriage, my husband decided he wanted to date. And we had never agreed to dating in the marriage. So that was a huge problem. So he had found himself, and I found him in an emotional affair. Not that it matters whether it was physical or emotional. Betrayal is betrayal. And that took our marriage in a direction that, looking back on it, became to be the best thing that ever happened to us. However, in the midst of it, it was the most devastating thing. I know for me, and I learned that it was also devastating for him. So instead of giving up on the marriage and just deciding that there were only one option, and that's divorce, we decided that we would get help. So I always say we decided to fight for our marriage and not just in our marriage. Meaning that instead of us just being two angry people, and particularly for me, instead of me feeling like a victim in my marriage, we decided we want to help. And so he went for counseling and I went for coaching. So we never did couples counseling. And so I don't know what it's like. I don't know what that experience would have been like. But what we found out individually is that we were two broken people who had some false beliefs about marriage, false beliefs about relationships, about love, and about each other that we needed to clear up so that we can then make better, healthier, wiser decisions in our marriage and learn to be good to one another. And so my greatest pain led me to my biggest purpose in life, because it was my life coach that said to me, Kenesha, you should be a life coach. So that is how I became a coach. And because of all of that hurt, pain, dissatisfaction, finding out that my life was a result of my decisions, for me, that was eye-opening. And so I begin this journey of wanting to understand, why do I think the way I think? Why do I act the way I act? Why do I feel the way I feel? And when you begin to do that, you begin to get full control of your life. So guys, what I'm doing too, as I'm broadcasting to you, I'm also broadcasting live on Facebook. So welcome to those of you who are joining us on Facebook. I don't know if I'll stay on Facebook the whole time, but I thought I would give some people an opportunity to let them know what I'm doing here. So as I'm talking, feel free if you have a question. I would love to be able to see y'all faces because it feels weird talking to like what I got 5 black boxes, but I respect your decision to stay off. So if there's at any moment you have a question or you have a comment, feel free, because I really do like a monologue. I really do like a dialogue and not just a monologue. So first and foremost, did everybody get the worksheet?
Yes, I did.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Did you look over it?
Yes.
I did. I did not have a chance to fill it out though.
Okay, no problem.
I have it. But I have it up right now.
Wonderful. So I wasn't expecting to put anyone on the spot tonight. If you're one of those bold people who love to share, I would love to hear some of your thoughts on the questions, because what I've learned about questions, particularly as a life coach, it is not so much what we know about our life. Is a lot of times the little things we never think to ask ourselves, and that's where the awareness began. So that's what this worksheet was about. It was really just about awakening you to thinking about what do you want. I think like right off the bat, I asked like, what type of man, woman are you attracted to? Or are you attracting? Like, what type are you typically attracting? Anyone?
Nobody.
Nobody. Okay. Anyone else?
Hey, Kanisha, this is Deani. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi, Deani.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Yeah, the answer to number 1 is I'm not sure, because I haven't really attracted anyone lately, I don't think. Or, oh, you know what? Actually, no, I wouldn't say that. There was a person who was attracted to me who was a guy who was very kind, very sweet, communicative. And like we had a lot in common. The issue was that I thought that he was like less masculine than I would usually go for.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Like to the point where we were joking and stuff, and I'd be like, girl, la da 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 da.
That's a real problem.
So I thought we were just chilling and just having fun, like, like just going to an event or something, because I thought that he was not attracted to me in that way, romantically. And then it turns out he was, and I felt really bad about that. But, yeah, but anyway.
So, if you're not attracting anyone now, because from what I can tell, many of us in Beijing, and so maybe we think that's a part of the problem. What type of people are men or women, because there's a brother on with me, and I don't know, Brian, I'm not sure if I'm talking to a male or female, so if you want to let me know, that would be great, so that I don't misrepresent by calling you the wrong thing. And thank you for those who are joining us on Facebook. So we're on a live webinar. I don't know if you can just hear me or if you can hear the other people too. But in the past, what typically type person do you attract?
Are you still talking to me? I'm sorry.
Whoever wants to share.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is Deani again. In the past, the people I've usually attracted have been ambitious, but it seemed like too busy for a relationship. But not bad guys at all, intelligent, but I guess and one thing too is that we were never in the same city. I realized that it was a pattern for me to be in sort of like a long distance thing.
That's good. I like that you used the word pattern. Anyone else?
For me, it's been different. It depended on where I was, what stage of my life I was in. No guy that I've dated has been the same, because I've been different along the way. So, and it's been a while since I've dated anybody, so I really don't know. I guess like I've dated immature guys, but I was in college. You know, I've dated jealous guys while I was in college. Most of my relationships were when I was in college, so that was a long time ago.
Yes, Tiana. Okay, so some people over here, yes, filled it out. Okay, I'm also looking at some of the different notes in the chat. So I asked that question because I want you all to start thinking about that more deeply. Like, what type of people do I typically attract to myself? Because if this is all about how do you attract the love you want, I want you to be aware of, like, what are you already attracting? And if you're not with that person, why are you attracting people you don't want? Wouldn't that be as important to understand as it is to understand how to attract the people you do want? Because somehow they're coming into your life. And see, I've learned, and I believe this with everything, I believe that people come into our lives to teach us something about ourselves. Many times we miss that lesson because, one, we're not taught to think that way. Another reason we miss the lesson is because oftentimes we're victims in our own life. So it's always their fault. It's them. They're the reason my life is not the way it is. Whether we're blaming our parents for not being who we need them to be, whether we're blaming the teacher who said the wrong thing, our skin color because, life is hard for a brother on the streets, like whatever our story is. We many times, and particularly I speak from my story, I spent most of my life being a victim. Because I did not know, like I literally didn't know that I could be the hero. I thought I needed someone else to come in and swoop me up. So as I started to think about this topic, and people had started like reaching out to me, asking me, how do I find the right person? And they would ask me via WeChat, and these are people I didn't even know. And I'm thinking, I have no idea. I can't answer you because my answer is not going to be what you think it is. So the way you meet the right person, first and foremost, you become the right person. And you may be thinking, like, what do you mean by that? You want to become what it is you're trying to attract. If you want a confident man or woman, you need to be a confident man or woman. Because like attract like, period. And I know people say, oh, opposites attract. But when you get to the root of a thing, you'll find that a lot of times like attract like. We draw to ourselves what's inside of us. We can't draw what's not inside of us. So I want you to be clear about that. One of the other things I want to make sure we talk about tonight is, what do you want from a relationship? Because I'm going to use my life as a little bit of an example to kind of walk you guys through this teaching. So in my younger years, high school, I really wasn't interested in dating because I equated falling in love with not going off to college. And I wasn't gonna do that. Like I didn't want to fall in love because I'm from a small town, and I was, in my mind, I'm getting out of here. So I wasn't interested in falling in love as a young high schooler. When I got off to college and then start being more interested and wanted to attract guys, I typically attracted the guy who, I did, but I attracted guys who saw me as their homegirl. Oh, you cool, you're a dude. Like I was a dude. I was like, what? What is happening to me? Why does the cute guy think I'm his homie? Instead of seeing me the way he's seeing my friend. But I carried myself as a homie. So he saw me as a homie. But then when I looked deeper into my own patterns, I never knew what I wanted in a relationship. For a lot of years in my young adult college life, I did not know what I wanted. All I knew was that I wanted to be wanted. I want someone to get that. I need, like, sometimes all you want is to be wanted. So when you're moving through life where you don't know for yourself what it is you really want in a relationship, you go along to get along. Does that make sense to anybody? Yeah. So, yeah. And what happens is you will connect with a guy who knows what he wants, and even if I know there's a gentleman on the call, you may connect with a woman who knows what she wants, and even if what she wants is just someone to keep her company, just show money, or just a booty call or whatever. Like if they know what they want and you don't know what you want, you are connected and you're being a part of kind of their story or their movie. And you just like, okay. That's where I found myself a lot. When I look back over my life and my younger, like, between, I would say 19 and my early 20s, I was just, because I didn't know what I wanted. I just wanted to be wanted. And that's a very dangerous place to be in, because any attention is better than no attention. And then you're attracting to yourself from that needy place. And trust, know, and believe that the universe has a way of being like, okay, you want to be needed? Like, you needy? I'm going to find someone who would just use you up because you're so needy. And then when we are not walking in awareness and we are the victim of our life, it's never our fault. Well, that's him. He's a dog. He mistreat me. That's how he do women. That's how men are. And guys, I don't really know what you all say, you know, other than like some of the really horrible words I've heard men call women, like she's a hoe, she's this. But what part did you play in that? And many times we don't take responsibility for our part. And so, as I said earlier, people come into our life to teach us something about us. Like every person that enters into your life is coming to try to reveal something to you about you. And the more accepting you are to that belief or that thought, the better you widen your chances to grow and mature into who you need to be, to either attract the type of love that you want or even just attract the type of life you want. Because again, our life is a result of the way we think, the way we move, the way we process things. Life is not happening to us, it's happening for us. But if you're the victim, you think everything is happening to you. And so in a way, you're drawing that kind of energy, or you're creating that type of life because of the way you're moving through life. But it's so easy to think it's them. I spent most of my life in that place. And when I found out it was me, I had to spend about 2 months being mad with myself, because I'm like, dang it, I could have been doing this better all along. And so that's what I want to awaken you to. The other thing I want to make sure, I'm sorry?
This is Deanna. Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely, please do.
How did you move yourself out of the homie role?
You know, that's a great question. And it's part of my process. So I start being, if nothing else about me, I'm very observant. I'm very observant. And so I start asking myself, like, why are the guys seeing me as their homeboy instead of like seeing me as a woman? Like I was, 5'8.5" back then. It was still same height now. But what I found was interesting being on a college campus, growing up always the tallest girl in the class. I didn't know what that was when I was in high school and middle school. I was awkward to me in my own mind. I remember I went to North Carolina A&T, Aggie Pride. I remember being on campus one, like first probably week or so at school, big thing on campus, and I'm walking across campus, and this guy goes, "Yo, sexy," and I was like, "That's what this is." Like finally, something to identify, all of this, all of these long legs and all of this body that I have. Like, that's what this is. This is sexy. This isn't, at that time in my life, I wouldn't have called myself pretty. I've always thought I was attractive, but not pretty. You know what I mean? Like, there are some people who I see like, oh, she's beautiful. And then there's some people like, oh, she's pretty. I didn't see myself as a pretty girl, but I could identify with sexy. I was like, oh yeah, that's who I am. That's what I got. But I was also lazy when it came to dressing. And I liked being the home girl. I just thought that maybe somehow they would have thought that that was cute enough. But, and meaning that my life, I had literally set my life up where my goal was to wear jeans and t-shirts every single day. But so I started noticing that, okay, the women that men are attracted to was exuberating more feminine energy. Like now that would be the word I would call it, instead of masculine energy. So most men are attracted to feminine women. And even though, yeah, Counter was cute, whatever, but I was like this. I was like, oh, what's up? So I was operating from my masculine energy. You understand?
I completely understand. First of all, I lived in Greensboro for 7 years.
Yeah.
And two, that is basically my life story.
Yes.
And being in the being in the miracle mindset group with you, that was one of my goals. That was one of my intentions, was to be more feminine in the ways that I was dressing or in the ways that I was acting, because I'm very, as you all can tell, I guess I'm very opinionated. I'm not afraid to say what I need to say.
Yeah.
But I realized that, operating in a more feminine energy is being like more receptive versus, just always being like the first one to go.
Yeah.
Like waiting for someone to open the door, that type of thing. Like I forget to do that. And so I'm trying to get back in that mode.
Yes. And so that is a good thing too. What you just said, I forget to do that. It's like, as ladies, as women, many times we have this mental idea and picture of what we want a man to do and be for us. But then when he shows up, we move in our masculine energy and we're all like, I can do it. I don't need your help. Like society has really kind of messed us up, because some of us think that it's a negative thing to be a woman. Here's the thing, like, people feel the way they feel about Steve Harvey. I particularly like him. One of the things he says, ladies, I know that you can do it, but do you want to do it? And there are just some things I don't want to do. Like, I don't want to take the trash out. I don't want to. When we lived in America, my husband and I had a home, had a car, I wasn't washing a car. Like, no, I'm not. And I'm not cutting grass. Can I do it? Yes. But I didn't want to. And so we have to learn how to be okay with being feminine and not see that as a weakness, but see it as our power. So another thing I want to make sure you guys get tonight, because I think this is what's really happening in many of our situations with attracting love. So we all have these, I call them soul wounds. Soul wounds are the emotional scars that happen to us when we are a child. If you're a kid and you fall and you break your arm or you get a cut, your parents know to take you to the doctor, right? A good parent anyway. But when your heart is broken or something seemingly traumatic happened to you as a kid, and it doesn't have to be as devastating as most people think, but as a child, we process things, and then when you have to process it in your pain, we typically process it the wrong way. Meaning we give the wrong meaning to something. So you know how you always hear people, when the parents get divorced, the first thing they say is like, we got to let little Johnny know that this is not his fault. Mm-hmm. Right? The reason they're doing that is because, like, we've come to an awareness that a child will often blame themselves for things that they're not responsible for. However, we have a lot of those little wounds that's happening to us. We're trying to figure things out. You're like, oh, she gave everybody a piece of candy but me. That must mean that I'm not good enough for the candy. Boom, emotional wound. Everybody got invited to the party but me, so it must mean something's wrong with me. Boom, emotional wound. So, as a kid, we're trying to process these things. Now, that's a small thing that happened. Imagine if you're a child and you've had really big things happen, like death of someone that you love. Some of us have faced child molestation, abuse, abandonment, shame, all these things. Those are what I call soul wounds. So, and no, there's no doctor for that. Well, I think there's a doctor, his name Jesus, but you got to be in awareness of it. You got to go to church every Sunday and not even aware that they have these soul wounds that's driving them, that is the reason they are doing what they're doing, acting the way they're acting. And you in church, you speaking in tongues, you're falling all out, but your life isn't manifesting. You know, if you're a church person, Jesus say things like, I came that you may have life and have it more abundantly. Who the sin has set free is truly free indeed. But then we live our life in bondage because we're in bondage to the wound. And so when you have this soul wound, right, you will attract people to your wound. So your wound will attract the love that you think you want. So, okay, here's mine. I'm going to share this with you guys. We're hoping that I really get you to understand what's happening. My emotional soul wound is rejection, right? This is me doing a lot of work and learning this about myself. When I look back over my relationships prior to meeting my husband, I will only be attracted to men who rejected me. And then when I met a man as good as my husband, who was just open and honest and just told me what he wanted and wasn't playing games, because my wound, because the wound tells you stories, right? Because my wound was telling me, you're not worthy of this can't be happening, this isn't real. Now that he's not rejecting me, I was trying to reject him. Nah, this dude ain't right. I don't know, something ain't right with him. He just ain't quite dead. You see? Because the wound. Yeah. But here's what I believe. I believe God uses everything to draw us to his healing. And the only way, see, like I said earlier, when you break your arm, you know your arm is broken, you go to the doctor. The reason we get into these emotional patterns, the reason things keep happening to us is because God is like, I'm trying to heal that part of you, but I need you to be aware of it. So even for me, I saw rejection at work. The moment my boss would say something, they would tell me, oh, you know, I was a graphic designer before I was a life coach. They would tell me, oh, Kenesha, we don't like the way you designed that. I would take it personally. Oh, they rejected me. Who they think they are? Why they got to treat me this way? They don't appreciate my work. No, that was my soul wound talking. Spirituality, Christianity, I believe the Muslim faith, I believe the Hindu faith. Spirituality is all about emotional maturity. And so your relationships, right, your relationships are a reflection of your maturity. So if you got to tell somebody off, cussing somebody out all the time, you just show me how old you are. I don't care what your body look like. You about 10. How old we start learning curse words? We think we just popping off at people. You just taught me.
7.
Right. And so then you're going like, I don't know why I keep attracting dudes who do blah, blah, blah. Well, because your wound keeps showing up. And so your wound is attracting them. So what y'all got?
So how do we figure out what our wound is?
It's a good question. So, okay, let me see. I'm looking at my time. I'm trying to be. So, and I'm not trying to sell you on a program, but I do have a program called Soul. I did the workshop and now I'm using it like as a program to help people. Typically the wound is the belief that you build based on probably something that happened to you when you were younger. Whether you felt abandoned, shame. For me, it was rejection. I can't never think of those wounds because I'm trying to pull them up out of my top of my head. Let's see. Betrayal, abuse. Those are the main wounds. So what happens is, if you are finding yourself, like even for me, when I, in my relationship with my husband and, okay, dude, why are you dating? Like, this is a problem. When I start doing my work, meaning I start working with my coach, one of the questions was, why did the betrayal show up? Right? Because then I tell you, all of life is trying to teach you about you. And so I could have continued to be the victim and be like, oh, I can't believe you did this to me, and I'm a good wife, and I'm a good woman, and da, 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 da. But the question was, why did the betrayal show up? And I was like, wow. And I started looking at that thing. I've been betraying myself most of my life. So God is like, okay, I tried to tell you then. You didn't want to look at it. I tried to show you then. You didn't want to look at it. So now, boom, now what you going to do with betrayal? I was like, And had all I'd done was got mad with my husband, been like, you're the worst person in the world. I'm packing my stuff. I'm out of this relationship. I would have destroyed a family. My children would have been like, yo, what just happened? And I would have left with my baggage of my betrayal or my baggage of my rejection. And then I would have had a wonderful story to tell all my friends about how bad Andre is. And I could have gotten a whole group of people to support me in, girl, you did the right thing. You know, you deserve more than that. You're a queen. Because ain't that some crazy stuff we say to ourselves. And our friends, we surround ourselves with women who, yeah, Black power, love, woman. You know, like we mean well. We mean well when we're doing this. We mean well. But the truth is, everything is meant to help you grow and mature. And so a blessed woman would say, or a woman you're in a relationship with, you're in the hard times, would say, well, baby, how did this show up in your life? What did this come to teach you? I ain't talking about me, I'm talking about him. No. But this is your second time this happened. This is your third time this happened. Could it be that there's something in you? I always say, could it be that there's something in you that God wants to heal? And the healing, see, we think we want to go to God when it's cancer, when it's, some illness in our body, when it's, oh Lord, I'm about to lose my job. Let me go fast and pray, right? But we have the right to go to him with, okay, there's some emotional stuff in me. There's I get angry at the drop of a hat, or I can't seem to get along with people. I ruin relationships. I think all men are dogs. I think all women are hoes. I think they just want my money. I think like your thoughts is where the wounds show up. See, thoughts create decisions. Decisions create destiny. Our thought make the emotion. I always say that our thought, like our emotion, is our thought in action. Well, I feel sad because you're thinking sad thoughts. I'm angry because you have angry thoughts. So if you're thinking that all men are dogs, if you're thinking that can't nobody have no real good, ain't no such thing as a happy marriage. I've had people say that to me, ain't no such thing as a happy marriage. If you think that, how do you think that's going to show up in your emotions and then in your behavior? And because the brain will do anything it has to prove itself right, guess what you're going to attract? You're going to attract the dude where you say, you know what, ain't no such thing as a happy marriage. You're going to go stand at the altar with your pretty dress on smiling. But in the back of your belief is, I don't believe in happy marriages. So now you have just entered into a marriage that's going to give you nothing but hell, because that's what you need to happen, because that's your deepest belief. Y'all getting this? Y'all still here with me?
Yeah.
I'm getting this. Yeah. This is Deanna.
Yeah.
All right. So are there any questions, any revelations, any?
I have a question about number 4. Describe the occurring patterns. Or are you going to talk about that later?
Well, we can certainly talk about it. So when I said describe your, let's see, number 4, describe your recurring patterns. What happens in your relationships? So yeah. So your question is?
Well, my question is, I've noticed one thing that is happening in all of our relationships, which is horrible for women. Like, no amicable breakup at all. I don't talk to you in this night, period. I'm dead to them, they're dead to me. I don't understand where, like, how this happens all the time, because it'll be fine, and then it'll hit a wall and then crash and burn, and it's like sudden.
Say no, wait, and now tell that story again.
I said, I know. Yeah, well, from where I'm sitting, everything will be okay, and then will hit a bump, and then that bump will turn into like that molehill will turn into a mountain out of nowhere. It's like I'll see that it looks like a molehill, but I'll see that it's a mountain right as I'm hitting it. You know what I mean? Like it's bigger than I thought it was, because as soon as we hit this bump, it's crash and burn. I don't talk to him, he don't talk to me. Well, that's it. It's over.
Okay. Now, how honest with you are you with you?
I like to think. I mean, I've grown. So over the past couple of months, I have been actually thinking about what has been my part in it. So with the last guy, we didn't date. We were just talking, but it had the same outcome. We don't talk to each other. It was not ending well. So I actually went to him and apologized for my part in how things ended, and it was just, I didn't think I did anything super terrible, but like I played a part in it. I apologize for that, and it was just nothing after that. But it's not just him; it's everybody. Everybody does ever talk to David. So that's the one, because all the dudes that I've dated have been different, but all the outcomes are the same. So I do recognize that part has to be me.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. You said that you didn't think it was anything that big. Is it something you said, or the way you said it?
Yeah, it was the way I said what I said. With the last guy, I don't know about the other one. I have to go back and think about him.
Yeah.
Because there were years ago.
Yeah. So the reason I asked you, was it something you said, is because as women, we have this tendency, we downplay the harshness of our own words. But men take words to a man. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. Like, one of the greatest lessons I learned as a Bible girl, the Bible says, husband, love your wife. Wife, respect your husband. And when I started listening to this minister teach this, he said, notice in the Bible, nowhere does God tell the husband to respect his wife. And nowhere does he tell the wife to love her husband. And I'm like, whoa, he says, because a woman, we are responsive. I mean, like, we respond. So if you love me, I'm gonna love you back. I'm a natural responder. But it's not my natural nature way to give respect. That's why God made it a command. But not only did he make it a command that a woman wife would give her husband respect, he built the man to need it. So he told us that because he's like, now listen, I'm trying to tell you this, how I built this dude. He's going to need praise. He's going to need honor. He's going to need respect. He's going to need words of affirmation. He's going to need to be built up. Well, what do we do as women many times? We tear men down with our words. And then when the brother feel it, and he like, yo, I'm good, I'm out. Because many of them are not going to tell you, they're not going to go in it with you like, like a woman will. And then you'll say, well, I don't know what I said that was a big of a deal. Oh, those words was the big deal.
I know what I said. I know exactly what I said. Yeah. The last time. Mm-hmm. I apologize, though. I apologize.
You know, my father taught me when I was getting married to Andre. He said, my dad said, what I love about my dad is he never treated me, like he never spoke to me like his daughter. He always spoke to me woman, man. Right? He would tell me things, Kanisha, now a man this and a man that. He said, Kanisha, you got to be careful with what you say to Andre. He says, because even if he forgive you, he will never forget it. And I think about women who will call their man, you acting like a bitch, or you sorry MF, and all those kind of things. You can say that in the heat of the moment. And you can then go, baby, I'm so sorry. But he is going to believe that is absolutely how you really feel about him. And it's going to be very hard for him to forgive that. My father taught me that. And so a lot of times what's happening in our relationships, man-woman relationships, we've never seen any good ones modeled.
That's true.
Very true.
Yeah. So think about if you went to, you're a teacher because you're in the classroom. And what do you teach?
I teach first grade.
Okay, so first grade. But what if somebody drop you in the classroom and say, okay, today you got to teach Chinese?
Not gonna happen.
Right.
They can learn ni hao and take the second left at the intersection.
Exactly. So you're gonna be in there teaching these kids ni hao for a whole year because that's all you have. But maybe at some point, someone will be gracious enough to come along and say, listen, Lena, I'm gonna give you this course. I just need you to do a little bit of this every night, and the more you learn about it, the more you can teach. We never do that with relationships. We try to figure relationships out. Why? There are books on relationships. There's books on how a woman can be a woman and woo a man. There's books on how a man can stand in his manhood and make a woman want him. See, a man will win you over with his love and his affection, and then when a woman turn it off, he like, I don't know what happened. Why she do some of the stuff you was doing before?
Right.
I didn't just turn it off. It's not gone. It's still there. There's something about male-female energy that we are attracted to. But I can't show up in the relationship with all my masculine energy with this man unless I'm dating a feminine man. And one of y'all already told me that you ain't really feeling that.
Right. Oh man, it was a debacle.
Right.
It was sad. It was sad.
Yeah. So that is the thing. Like maybe he was attracted to that part of the energy of yours. Like, ooh, that's sexy to him. But you like, that ain't, no, bro.
Yeah, because what was interesting to me was that I'm very decisive to the point where it's almost too reactionary. Like I can make a decision so quick about something without clearly thinking. It helps in some points in life, but it doesn't help in others. And he was not decisive. Like there were so many things that I say I want in a person, but I was that person to him. And it was too much. Yeah, I wish the roles would have been reversed. One thing that I say I want in a relationship is for someone to be the planner, someone to have the vision and lead the way. Because I feel like I do that so much in my life with my friends. I plan stuff. As a teacher, I'm planning all the time. Like I want someone else to take the lead, and I need to learn how to step back, still be, an assertive person and say what I need to say, but also just step back and let someone else take control.
That is interesting because that is one of my questions too. Like I have on my notes is like, you say you want that, but do you believe you can have it? And two, do you really want it? Because when I hear you say, I want a man who can take the lead, who can be a planner. What if it takes him longer to plan than you think it should take him? Can you handle it?
You know what? Not right now in this current moment on June 7th, 2019.
Yeah. And that's the thing, we have to like be, at least that's what I talk about when I talk about self-awareness. It's like, you know what? You are aware that you are a planner. You say you want a man who plans, but are you willing to accept the fact that what you can do in 1 hour may take him 24?
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. And so can you be with a man who loves you, who adores you, but just process slower than you? Because scientifically, supposedly, you know, and I'm going by other people's research, there's been research that say, like, for women, our brains are more like high-speed internet, and men brains are more like dial-up. They're not, that doesn't shorten their intelligence. I'm not shorting their intelligence. They just gonna, like, one minister, he explained it. He says, as women, we contemplate and then articulate. Contemplate, so we think it, we say it. We think it, we say it. We think it, we say it. He says a man will contemplate, roll that thing over every kind of way, examine, and then articulate. And so he said, women, y'all think y'all are smarter than us because you can think it up fast and say it fast. That doesn't make you smarter. He's like, because we're going to take time and process it, which is why a lot of times as women, we're like, oh, dang, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Because we don't think about it. We say it, we think it, say it, think it, say it. And so we get in relationships with men who are doing what a man does. He's like, okay, babe, I need to look at this at all angles because the last thing I want to do is to hurt you, to disappoint you. A man's highest thing is like honor, respect. So one of the hard things for most men, and now I know you as, tell me your name, Move, because I know it's not Shaheed. Okay, so he's quiet on me up there. That's not how I know him as Shaheed. But most men don't want to disappoint. They don't, they struggle with feeling inadequate. So in order for me not to be inadequate, I got to think this thing through before I do something that's going to disappoint this woman. It's very hard for them. We think men have it easy. They have it very hard because women, we're so fickle. What I like today, I don't like that tomorrow. And so the man is like, okay, I'm just trying to figure out what she like. I'm trying to see what I can do to make her happy. What? I thought you liked strawberries. Like, nah, I was on strawberries last week. I'm in grapes today. And he's like, dang it, I've been. You see? And so a good man, he really does want to please you. But many times we don't know ourselves what we want. And particularly if you're operating from that wound, you are a mess because you're trying to get him to fix a part of you that you're not even aware is broken. You just know, you feel it. You don't know how to identify it. So you can't call it what it is. And then if he recognizes it a little bit and say, baby, it seems like you're just so insecure. Oh, now you want to fight. Because you yourself won't admit that I do have this insecurity wound. And so when you don't take full ownership for your own emotions by saying, yes, I do have some insecurities that they happened before I met you. And so what you just did triggered me, but that's not your responsibility to never do that again like that. It's my responsibility to pull back and say, is that what he really did? Or is that my trigger of that experience? And so now I'm seeing it that way. Self-awareness takes a lot of work. But when you move in it, it's so good.
Can you say that again? You said what you did triggered me, but it's not your responsibility to fix that? Right.
See, what happens, like, okay, so I have a trigger of rejection, right? So if Andre says to me, no, I don't want to go to the movies. Well, you don't want to go. It's not his responsibility to find the exact right way to say, babe, I don't want to go to the movies so that I don't feel rejected. That's not his responsibility. He'll be working forever. It's my responsibility. Right. You know what? Andre is not rejecting me. He just don't want to go to the movies.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
But if I am not aware of my wound of abandonment or my wound of shame or what's the other ones up here? Betrayal. Your man come home. He been gone all day. He been working. He been doing the right thing. You have no reason to think that he's cheating on you. He get a quick text. He responds like, you been gone all day. Why now you ain't got time to talk to me? It's like, whoa, babe, what's going on with you? Because you've been feeling all day that like, I don't know if he's going to come home. He been gone later than normal. So your abandonment wound may be triggered and you on fleek, as they say, which you're feeling abandoned, but you're not even aware of that's what it is. So the moment he walks in the door, do the tiniest of thing, because you've been building all day now. You're crazy. I call it crazy town. Crazy town been telling you all day, he this, he ain't gonna do that. It's really your abandonment wound going, oh my God, I'm scared he's not gonna come back. He normally home by 6 and it's 8. He walk in the door at 8:30. He doesn't give you all the attention you want because you've been feeling abandoned all day. Now you diving on him. And you're like, and dude is like, whoa, what just happened, babe? I was working extra hours. And he's like, nah, you see, you did. And you build a big argument and it always ends with, you don't want to be with me, or you're trying to leave me. And he's just like, I'm just trying to make some extra money. I thought you said you wanted us to go on vacation. So it's not his responsibility to be like, okay, it's 6:02, Lord, I know my baby got abandonment issues. Let me call her. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. That's your responsibility to say, you know what? I know that I'm with a good man. He's an honest man. I often feel abandoned. So let me pull back, see what this really is. Am I being abandoned or do I feel abandoned? Because I know that this is a feeling that comes up on me. Let me bring myself back to truth. A lot of work, but that is maturity. That's spirituality that I'm talking about. I don't want you falling out in church on Sunday. I don't want you rolling around in tongues that you don't understand. I don't want you hallelujahing it up when you calling on Jesus' name, but you can't have a decent conversation with your husband or your mate. I want you to evolve and mature emotionally so that now you're attracting your maturity, your emotional maturity, your peace, your calmness, your joy. You can bring that right into your life. But if you chaotic, guess what you're going to find? Chaotic is going to like, ooh, no, that dude right there, he too calm. He too quiet. Yeah, because you're crazy looking for crazy. And if he's not crazy, you trying to get rid of him, like, I don't know, there's something ain't right with that dude. He too calm. You're like. So we are attracting to ourselves. One is the thing that's I believe God is trying to use to heal you of the broken part, the broken thought, the broken belief that you're carrying about yourself that needs to be healed. But you can only get there by it keep happening to you. And see, even when you start moving in the healing, it's going to happen now so that you can become aware. You're like, oh, now I know what that is. Works. Yo, I'm feeling rejected, but I'm going to pull back. I'm not going to react. I'm going to pull back and be like, let me process this. That's when you're operating from the healing part. And so that's what I'll talk about on Sunday. How do you heal from the emotional wounds so that you can begin to attract the type of people in your life, not even just like a male, female, but love is like friendships and the relationships you have with your parents. And, because when you start to shift, I promise you, it's going to be hard for some of the people in your life. They like you crazy and out of control. They like you being a victim because you may be their victim friend. And they can call on you when we do this whole, pity party together, girl, yeah.